If you're a young guy craving a relationship, I made this video for you. So I remember about 3 years ago, it was my sophomore year in high school, and I got into my first relationship with this girl, right? Things were going well, it was good at first, but then what happened over time is I started to get super, attached to this girl, start to get scared of losing this girl. I started to treat it as a test almost, right? Oh, am I doing the right things? Is she viewing me the right way? And it started to get to this weird thing where I was never really able to be myself and be open because I was constantly treating it like a test. And I started to view her, almost higher than me, right? I started to put her on a pedestal. And it created this weird thing where, being in this relationship, it really took a lot of my focus away, right? At that time, all I really cared about was the gym. I didn't really care about business or social media. It was just the gym, the gym. But when you get into a relationship, it really started taking my focus away from anything else. And my focus was put on her, right? I would go to bed texting her, wake up texting her, everything kind of my world around, resolved around her. And what that does is it really does mess up your focus. It really does mess up, you achieving your goals and becoming the person you want to be. And I think it's super easy, when you're a young guy to crave love, crave relationships. You see them you see movies or you see TikToks of like super cute things and you want that feeling, right? You want that feeling of love. You can all imagine of being loved. And what can happen is when you're craving that feeling of love and you're chasing it more and more and you're just chasing it, is sometimes you can confuse love for things like lust, for things like desire, for things like wanting to be wanted, and these bad things that aren't actually love but are masked as love. So you have to be super careful that when you're going out and you're trying to build something, you're trying to build something real. You're not trying to build some sort of weird fantasy you have that you saw in a movie, or this, something that's not in reality, but it's in your imagination. So, I get it. You're a young guy. You're craving a relationship. But, there's one quote that I really do live by. It's the quote that to attract butterflies, you don't chase them, because if you chase them, they're going to fly away. You instead build a beautiful garden and they'll come naturally. And I remember that I learned that quote a few years ago and it really stuck with me and I really lived by that quote. So, that quote is how love works too, right? It's not about chasing, it's about becoming. It's about building yourself up into the person you want to be. It's about building your character, building your confidence, building your, your status, your money, those sort of things too. But it's mostly about building who you are inside, building your soul into a person who you're super confident in who you are, and you're super still in who you are as a person, because that's what happened with my first relationship. I wasn't super confident in who I was, so I wasn't able to truly be myself around this girl, and I wasn't able to be free. I was treating it like a test because I didn't really know who I was and I wasn't confident in who I am. So you firstly need to build yourself into a beautiful garden, and what that mostly means is, especially like mentally, right? You need to love yourself mentally, because the truth is you need to become someone full of love before you're able to love another person. So you have to learn how to love yourself. You have to learn to be someone who's full of love. Well, now how do you do that? How do you become someone full of love? Well, the way you become someone full of love is there's a few things. I remember at first the way I grew self-love was by saying I was going to do things and accomplishing them. For example, 8th grade summer, going into my freshman year of high school, I started going to the gym, and I found a lot of self-love in that because I was becoming better. It was the pursuit of becoming better that made me love myself. But then, over time, I realized that if you put your self-love on other things, right? Like, oh, you get a good physique, or your self-love is, oh, you're making money, or you have that girl, or you're a certain version of yourself, and you put your self-love on that, you're not going to experience true self-love. True self-love is something that's already inside of you. It's intrinsic. I can't say that word right. It's always in you, though. So you have to learn how to just feel that self-love. So what I do every single morning is I'll sit outside in the sun. I listen to the nature. I hear the birds chirp. I see the sun, hitting off my skin. And what I'll do is I'll close my eyes and I'll just feel the feelings in my body. And I'll let my heart, there's a prayer I'll do. I'll say, thank you, God, for this beautiful day, for this beautiful mind and this wonderful body. Help me, God, today to be loved, to be the same way you are loved, and to spread love. And I'll close my eyes and I'll really feel the love in my heart, and I'll let it, expand. And then I'll look at the trees and I'll love the trees, and the trees love you back. And I'll look at the birds and the birds love you back. And I'll look at all the animals, all the grass, the sun, the clouds, the wood, all of it. And I look at it and I love it, and it loves you back. And what you happens is when you do this drill and you feel your negative emotions, because you got to stop suppressing them, right? If you're feeling a negative emotion, sadness, anger, pride, guilt, you can't suppress the emotion. You have to sit there and just feel the emotion. And what that does is those emotions, when you just feel them instead of suppressing them and hiding them inside of you, is you become more free and you become someone who feels more positive emotions, because those negative emotions were just suppressing the positive emotions from coming up. So once you do that drill to where you just feel negative emotions and you let them sit there and you let them pass, what you're going to find is you naturally become someone who's more full of love, someone who's more full of happiness and peace. Because self-love is, the key to it all, man. And I think you really got to make sure you're not putting it on something else. You're not putting your worth on something else, on an outcome. You're putting your worth on simply who you are. And then once have been spending maybe a few years building yourself, really becoming the person you want to be, you're working on yourself, you're going to the gym, you're building businesses, you're becoming that dream version of yourself. It's not about achieving those things, but it's about what you learn while in the attempt of achieving those things, the character you build, the confidence you build, the self-identity you build, and you're super secure in who you are. Then go out and that relationship will come. Don't chase that relationship. It'll come naturally, but don't be resistant to love. Don't be closed off to love. A lot of people, they get super closed off to love, They're scared to love. They're scared. But don't chase love. Don't be scared of love. Just go out in life embracing love, feeling the love, just being there. And what's going to happen is a relationship will naturally bloom like a flower and it'll come into your life. So, if you're a young guy craving a relationship, focus on yourself. Always remember the quote: to attract butterflies, you don't chase them, you build a beautiful garden. And constantly just focus on building yourself, and don't be scared to love, and love with the universe around you, all the world around you, the people around you, love God, all of it. And naturally, when you're full of love, love will come to you and you will build a beautiful relationship. Thank you.